it's been a great stadium, for me for a long time. So I don't know what the future holds. Obviously there could be an opportunity to come back here. So we'll see. I feel like I'll always be a part of this community, and I'll be up here quite a bit when it's all said and done. When I retire, I'm sure there'll be a lot of time for I have a lot of friends up here, and it's a great place. And again, my kids were born on Beacon Street in the city, and it's been an amazing place for me. It still is, and I obviously see a lot of familiar, friendly faces, and it's great to see you guys too.
Play clock at 5. Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler. Unreal.
Toss to White. He's in. Patriots win the Super Bowl. Brady has his 5th. What a comeback.
This is All Eyes on the Pats podcast. Welcome to All Eyes on the Pats podcast, episode 2. I'm your host, Steve Atkinson. Got a full show tonight, talking everything Patriots, and you guessed it, Tom Brady's retirement from the NFL officially. What you heard before the intro, that clip was Tom Brady talking after his game against the Patriots in October, talking about when it's all said and done, he'll be back here. Relax, Patriot fans. Let me just say this. He's going to retire a Patriot. But before I go any further, I want to provide a timeline of what happened this week. Or this weekend, I should say. Because these last few days have been chaos. Saturday, Adam Schefter tweets, Tom Brady's going to be retiring from the NFL. He doesn't back down from it. He stands by it. He says he's done. Brady's camp goes berserk, says, he's not retiring. His dad says he's not, calls up a local TV station in San Francisco, says he's not retiring, he's not done. Brady goes on his Let's Go podcast with Jim Gray last night and says this about retiring.
It's a good week for me, and I'm just still going through the process that I said I was going through. So sometimes it takes some time to really evaluate how you feel and what you want to do. And I think when the time's right, I'll be ready to make a decision one way or another, just like I said last week.
Does this overstep the boundaries of having the proper respect for all that you have achieved and not allowing you to be able to do this on your own timeline?
For me, I was trying to enjoy a nice weekend. It didn't quite turn that way because my phone got really busy, but, that's just part of being in the situation I'm in.
Do you have a timeline?
I don't know. I know when the time's right. So, like I've always said, it's, I'm very blessed to play as long as I had. As things have gone on in the later parts of my career, whether that was 5 years ago or, even this year, there's a lot of interest in when I'm going to stop playing. And I understand that. It's not that I don't recognize that. It's just when I know, I'll know. And when I don't know, I don't know. And I'm not going to, race to some conclusion about that.
Would this perhaps be the impetus, the chip on your shoulder that you need? The thing that says, hey, screw all these people. I'm still at the top of my game. I might want to continue, so I'm going to continue.
I think my motivation for playing football is to win and be successful. And maybe there's little parts of motivation that come from different places or what people may say or think. But I'm mostly motivated from inside and, wanting to be the best for my teammates and my coaches and my organization. So, that's kind of where my motivation's been for a long time. And at different times, you use different techniques and tools to put yourself in the right frame of mind. But, for me, it's just always being the best I could be. And that's how I've always wanted to be for my teammates.
So that was Tom Brady last night on his podcast with Jim Gray called Let's Go. So this morning, he releases a statement that he's retiring from the NFL. He thanks the Buccaneers teammates, the Buccaneers staff, Bruce Arians, the head coach, Jason Light, the general manager, Alex Guerrero. He thanked his family. He thanked Michigan. He thanked his agent, Don Yee, and he thanked Giselle and his kids and his parents. And he he didn't mention the Patriots. And literally everyone was like, why didn't he mention the Patriots? Like, he was here for 20 years, and there was this upheaval and havoc because he didn't mention New England. And let me just say, he mentioned New England 2 years ago. He released a statement. It wasn't almost 1,000 words like it was today, but it wasn't a retirement speech. It was I'm leaving you for after 20 years, and I'm going to a different team. So, I mean, he should have, in this speech today, said, after he mentioned Michigan, say, hey, I appreciate Belichick drafting me and Robert Kraft and the Patriot fans and Patriot Nation. I love you guys so much. He could have said that. He should have said that in his statement today. I agree. He should have said it. But I also have in the back of my head know that he owes it to Robert Kraft to retire a Patriot. He didn't call Robert Kraft and say, I'm leaving New England. He went to his house and they cried for an hour after, talking about why he was leaving the Patriots and he's not going to be there anymore. And they cried together. They literally cried in Robert Kraft's house. He called Jason Light from wherever he is and said, hey, I'm retiring from the NFL. He didn't go to Jason Light's house and cry. He doesn't owe anything to Tampa Bay. He doesn't owe anything to them. He used them because they were a loaded team. He went down there, won a Super Bowl, and then this year they were full of injuries. Antonio Brown got himself thrown off the team, and they're ready to rebuild, and he doesn't want to be on a rebuilding team at the age of 45. So he's like, at this point, it's like, well, Gisele's up my butt, about retiring for the last decade. I have all these, where am I going to go? Am I going to retire? I'm not going to relocate. I would love to play in San Francisco, but, it would be not probably the best option. This is it. There's nothing else for him to do. He won without Bill. There's really nothing else for Brady to accomplish because he's accomplished everything. Really. 7 Super Bowls. He's got more than any team. There's really nothing else for him to accomplish, right? But he owes it to Robert Kraft to retire a Patriot. And I believe, or I think, that he's going to do that at some point in the future. In the near future, he's come back, he's going to do a 1-day contract and be. He didn't say it either. He tweeted the statement of the Patriots. He did that, but he didn't say it in an official statement. But that's okay because when he comes back and signs a 1-day contract, and then maybe apply as a Patriot or whatever, people are going to want to see this guy. 20 years. I've been watching Brady since he was years old. He lifted players around him to be better on both sides of the ball, and because of leadership. And I think Belichick. I think Belichick is great, but he wouldn't have won if it was a Brady. I mean, he's even admitted that. I mean, Brady won, even when he didn't go to the Super Bowl every year, he won with, he was champions, AFC championship games, divisional games, countless games he was on. Even players like Daphne and Rashae Caldwell in 2006 against the Colts in the AFC championship game that they lost, but. He was, and then he had Wes Welk came from the Dolphins. Julian Edelman was on a draft pick, lifted him up. Chris Hogan was good in the playoffs. Danny Amendola was great in the playoffs, and then he went to Detroit, and that was it. He wasn't that good anymore. Like, this guy has lifted everyone he's played with. Everyone. And it's because of his leadership. He's such a good winner. He's a winner. The guy knows how to win. And, we can go back and say Belichick didn't want to pay him. And, Kraft, he was like, well, I got to choose Bill because, and he chose Bill. And Brady understood that. So he owes it to Kraft to retire a New England Patriot. He is a New England Patriot. His statement today was a goodbye to Tampa. Again, I'm going to repeat it. He should have at least mentioned in a sentence that thank you for the Patriots. Like, he should have mentioned the Patriots, and he didn't. because I believe I think there's something coming bigger, like a whatever 1-day contract. He started his legacy here. His kids were born here. Like, of course, he's going to come back here in some capacity and, show his heart and whatever he's going to do. But that's what he's going to come back here. So I'm going to go into what I think are the best Brady moments. And I want to say that's the 2001 Super Bowl against the Rams. It was his first Super Bowl he's ever won. John Madden says they should be playing for overtime with like a minute 40 left or whatever it was. And Brady's going right down the field and sets up out of it, and Terry kicks the game-winning field goal, and the rest is history. His last Super Bowl win again with the Patriots was against the Rams. And then the team to end his career as a football player was against the Rams in this past year's divisional round against with the Buccaneers, I should say. So I'm going to play a clip from Jake Ellenbogen, who is host of Downtown Rams. You can follow him at JK Bogan on Twitter on his take of the top Rams moment against Tom Brady.
I think by far the best Rams moment versus Tom Brady has to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers divisional game. To be able to, finally win and potentially, knock him into retirement, for Rams fans and for the Rams, that would probably be the best moment. Since Tom Brady has gone to the Buccaneers, the Rams have really had their number. And so I think definitely that moment, the divisional round, really kind of put it all together, winning 3 straight against Tom Brady since he joined the Buccaneers, but more importantly, allowing the Rams to play for a Super Bowl at their home at SoFi Stadium. So that's what I would say. I think it was an incredible performance from Matthew Stafford and just, what they were able to do, forcing pressure on Brady, forcing a turnover on him, 2 turnovers, a forced fumble by Von Miller, an interception by Nick Scott. Incredible game, and I think that's definitely the best moment for sure.
So, yeah, Jake was right when he was saying, Brady's last game against the Rams literally forced them into retirement, which is absolutely true because he's now retired from the NFL. There was so many countless moments of not just the 0-1 Super Bowl, but then, the 28-3 game, the Super Bowl against the Falcons. And then, he leaves the Patriots. And honestly, he goes to Tampa. And when he went to Tampa, there's many reasons why he went to Tampa. And it wasn't just because of the team. It was the TB, I think, as well. Like, has his initials. He can do his TB12. It's in the sun. It's not cold up here in the middle of January or whatever, 30 degrees. The team's loaded. He literally went down there and took over, like Chris Gasper said, the offseason program of the Boston Globe, and took over that offense. He literally ran that offense. It was Brady's offense. It wasn't Bruce Arians. It was Brady. And it's kind of people want to say that Arians is a good coach or whatever. Brady that is now not back where they were because of the coaching. Right, Belichick's a good coach. Okay, and the Patriots are good because they have good coaching. And unfortunately, Luke, it wasn't a good team, and he didn't really have any good receivers, and he didn't have a tight ends. The team was better this year, and it got progress. The Buccaneers. They have a lot of contracts coming up. They're in a rebuilding mode, and Kyle Trask, and who knows what's going to happen if they're going to, get another veteran or whatever. Now that Brady has retired, so Matt Ryan's probably the best quarterback in the NFC South right now because the Saints don't have a coach or a quarterback. The Panthers, who knows what their situation is, And Tampa is kind of a mess. And if Brady had stayed a Patriot for 2 years and you won that 7th Super Bowl with Brady and you didn't draft Mac Jones, you would be what the Bucs are now, but you would be better off coming out of it because you have a better coach. You have Belichick, who obviously does a good job building it. He's in the past done a good job building a good team and building it up. And, we saw this past year, he signed all those free agents and the defense got better, but they're old. And as the season went on in December, after the bye week, they fell on their face and they just gave up. And especially in the last game of the wild card game against the Bills, they really gave up. But they have a promising future in Mac Jones. And, when you look at it that way, this is like for the Patriots side, the Patriots point of view of Brady retiring, this is good for them. It's good for Patriot fans because now Brady's not in your face. Brady's not, he's in the playoffs and the Patriots are 10-8 and they lose in the divisional round or whatever it is, or the wild card round, or, Brady's going to another Super Bowl and Bill Belichick's home eating on his couch. Like, Brady's not in the game anymore. So now the whole focus can be, we're preparing for the future post Brady. And I think him retiring is great for the Patriots and bad for Tampa because the Patriots are in a better situation than Tampa is just because of how their coaching staff is. There was a rumor from Jimmy Stewart from Felgrave Maz on the 98.5 The Sports Hub that Brady and Bruce Arians, there was a rift going on between them, and Brady wanted to play somewhere else, and Arians and the Bucs wouldn't let him. And the Bucs wouldn't let Brady play somewhere else, so Brady was like, fine, I'm going to retire. And because the Bucs aren't going to let, like the Patriots did, they let Brady decide, where he was going to end his career. And the Bucs weren't going to do that. It's either you play here or you're done. You retire. Like, you don't owe us anything. And he really didn't. He literally used the Buccaneers because they were a team ready to win now, and they were going to give him what he wanted. He wanted OBJ. They didn't give him that this past season. And that's according to Jimmy Stewart from the producer on Felgrave Maz on 98.5 The Sports Hub. They didn't give him that, but they probably needed OBJ. He's on the Rams and he's going to Super Bowl. But as you look at it as a Patriots fan, you need to take this as a positive. You really do. And if obviously he owes so much owes a lot to the Patriots to retire a Patriot. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame in 5 years in 2027 as a member, probably of the Bucs and the Patriots, because I think Manning did that too. Peyton Manning didn't retire a Colt, but Peyton Manning, I don't think, went to Jim Irsay's house and cried either for an hour. So he's family. Brady and Kraft, they're family. Like Kraft in his statement today, he thinks of Brady as his immediate family. So I'm going to keep saying it because I believe this is what I believe, that he was going to retire as a member of the New England Patriots and sign a one-day contract. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. So this notion that he didn't mention us today, he didn't mention the Patriots and the fans. And let me just say, as a personal note, I'm very grateful for Tom Brady. Been following him again since I was like 8 years old, and watching him play in games and win and all those Super Bowls. It's that's why I have a passion for the game and writing and doing what I'm doing right now. Freelancing. Doing a podcast because I love talking about it. This guy is an inspiration to not just athletes, to not just he's inspiration to a lot of people. To keep going, to don't let anyone talk you down, and tell you can't do something, because this guy was 44 years old playing in the NFL. And he was down 27-3 in the NFC divisional game against the Rams. Came back and with like not that many good receivers, let me tell you, and almost won the game. So, this guy has no quit in him. And again, the way he, makes people around him better, and he does that. He does do that. But this notion that he was disrespecting the Patriots today is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, he didn't exist on the Patriots. I don't take that as a dig at New England. I take it as, there's something bigger coming. I believe that. And as a Bill Belichick, he's probably smiling wherever he is. He's probably so happy that this guy is finally out of his face about, I have more rings, or I went to Tampa and won the ring, when, you can't win a ring without me, or whatever it is. Like, that notion, that's done with, that's over, right? So he's like, what more there's really nothing for him to prove. Now it's all about the next quarterback. Mac Jones, the next team, whatever that is. So, and that's basically my I'd rather, thank you, Tom Brady, for a great ride and breaker. And I appreciate the endless winning, and there's nowhere to describe the way Brady went in and out of games, how much he's meant to me. There are nowhere. But again, I'm looking forward to that day. We expect New England and signs